We're all a little obsessed with efficiency, right? We fine-tune our schedules down to the absolute minute, we use all these apps to optimize our money, and we try to squeeze every last little bit of performance out of our phones and computers. It's like we treat life as this big math problem that we have to solve for maximum output.
But here's the thing, what if that whole chase for 100% is actually a trap? What if pushing for total perfection doesn't make things stronger, but instead, it makes them super fragile? Okay, let's really get into this.
So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with why this idea of perfection is kind of an illusion. Then we'll dig into the hidden flaws in how we think, the psychology of it all. We'll talk about the fear of losing and how we hate uncertainty. And then we'll wrap it all up with the real solution, the power of resilience.
So what's the real problem here? Well, it's pretty simple. When we design something for perfect 100% efficiency, we leave absolutely zero room for error. We end up building systems that are great for a perfect world, but they completely fall apart in the messy, chaotic real one.
Just think about your own life. You know that feeling of running your phone battery down to 1% just to send one more email? Or scheduling meetings back-to-back with literally no time to even walk between rooms? It works perfectly, right up until the moment it doesn't. And then the whole thing just collapses. That's a fragile system.
So why do we keep falling for this trap? Well, the reason our perfectly efficient systems fail is because they're designed by us, and our brains are anything but perfectly logical computers. We're full of these predictable little biases that really get in the way of true rational thinking.
Okay, so one of the biggest biases is something called the framing effect. It's this wild idea that how a choice is presented to us, like whether it's framed as a gain or as a loss, can completely change our decision, even when the underlying facts are exactly the same.
Check out this classic example. When a treatment is described as saves 200 lives, most of us jump on it. But when the exact same outcome is described as 400 people will die, we avoid it. See? The math is identical, but our choice is swayed by the language. It just feels better to save people than to have people die. It shows our decisions aren't purely logical. They're all tangled up in emotion. And hey, don't think for a second it's just us. Studies have shown that even experts, like doctors, are hugely influenced by this. They're way more likely to recommend a surgery if you tell them it has a 90% survival rate versus a 10% mortality rate. It's the same exact number, but it feels totally different. And that feeling can lead to a completely different, life-changing decision. And that leads us right into the next big psychological force at play, our deep, powerful, gut-level fear of losing anything. This goes beyond just framing. It's about the emotional punch that losses deliver. Okay, so get this. Psychologists have actually found that the pain you feel from losing, say 20 bucks, is about twice as strong as the joy you feel from finding 20 bucks. That imbalance is called loss aversion, and it basically means we'll do almost anything to avoid losing something we feel we already have. And you can see this play out all the time in the real world. In the stock market, there's something called the disposition effect. Investors will sell a winning stock way too early just to lock in that nice feeling of a small gain. But they'll hold on to a losing stock for way too long, because selling it would mean they have to admit that the loss is real. It's all about feelings, not about smart financial strategy. All right, so we've established we're wired to hate losses, but there's something else we hate just as much: uncertainty. Turns out we'd much rather deal with a bad situation where we know the odds than a fuzzy one where everything is a complete mystery.
To really get this, let's play a quick game. Just imagine there's an urn and it's filled with 90 little balls.
So here's the deal. We know for a fact that there are 30 red balls in there. The other 60, well, they're a mix of green and blue, but we have absolutely no idea what the split is. It could be 60 green and 0 blue, 1 green and 59 blue, who knows?
Okay, round one. You win a prize if you pull out the color you bet on. So what's it going to be? Are you betting on red or are you betting on green?
Almost everyone picks red. Why? Simple. The probability is crystal clear. It's exactly 30 out of 90, a 1 in 3 shot. The chance of pulling a green ball is a total unknown. It's ambiguous, and our brains hate ambiguity. We'll take a known risk over an unknown one any day.
All right, now for choice number 2. Forget that last bet. This time, would you rather bet on pulling out a ball that's either red or blue, or a ball that's either green or blue? And here's where it gets weird. This time, most people switch their logic and pick green or blue. It's a total paradox. Why? Because now the green or blue option is the known quantity. We know there are exactly 60 of them, so that's a 2 in 3 chance. The red or blue option is now the ambiguous one. It just goes to show our choices aren't always logical. They're driven by this desperate need to avoid the unknown.
So what do we do about all this? If our brains are hardwired to make these biased emotional decisions, how do we ever build anything that works? Well, the answer isn't to try and be more efficient, it's to be more resilient.
So let's just tie this all together. We hate losing way more than we enjoy winning. We avoid uncertainty like the plague. And a system built for 100% efficiency completely ignores these fundamental human truths. It pretends the world is perfect and leaves no buffer, no margin for error for when things, inevitably go sideways.
This brings me to a perfect everyday example of what I'm talking about. Think about the last time you bought some new tech, maybe a Nintendo Switch like this one. You get to the checkout and they always ask that question. Would you like to pay extra for the extended warranty? Now, if you look at it from a purely mathematical, 100% efficient point of view, those warranties are usually a bad deal for you. But we don't buy them for the math, do we? We buy them for peace of mind. It's like a little insurance policy against that sudden, painful feeling of loss if it breaks. What we're actually buying is resilience, not efficiency. And this idea applies to everything. An emergency fund isn't the most efficient way to use your money, but it makes you resilient if you lose your job. A backup plan for a project takes extra time, sure, but it makes that project robust. Leaving some empty space in your calendar feels inefficient, but it makes your whole day resilient when something unexpected pops up. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a look at your life, your work, your money, your schedule. Where are you pushing for that fragile 100%, leaving absolutely no room for error? And what would it look like to trade just a little bit of that peak efficiency for the long-lasting power of resilience?